Welcome to Free Marketing Fridays. In about 15 minutes or less, I'm going to give you some actionable advice that you can take and use today. Today, we are going to be talking about how to create better, more usable personas based on data from your actual customers instead of some generic, bland, oatmeal, blah, blah, AI generated personas that don't do anything except just check a box on your to-do list. Oops. If we haven't met before, my name's Sunny Hunt. I'm the chief customer nerd here at Hunt Interaction. My work typically lives at the intersection between customer research, strategic customer growth, and revenue acceleration. I've been doing stuff like this for about 20 years. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. So don't make the mistakes that I did. Learn from them so that you don't have to repeat the same things. So I've worked with companies like this and a ton more on their customer growth challenges. And typically what it kind of boils down to is finding and filling success gaps in the customer journey and supporting your customers along the way, but knowing who your customers are so that you can better support them. So you may have personas with names like Marketing Mary and some kind of a stock photo. Nobody on your team uses them, sales ignores them, customer success never sees them, and a lot of them are built off of assumptions back from 2022. Like, that's a problem. Or you may just download a template from HubSpot and just kind of fill it out. Please, for the love of God, do not do this. Don't do this. It's not helpful. It's checkbox marketing at its absolute worst. And even if you take all of this data and you kind of plug it into Claude or ChatGPT and ask it for a persona, it may give you information that gets you about 70% of the way there, but it's in that 30% where that nuance really lives that makes your personas usable and really gives you information that helps you create better messaging, and it helps you create better positioning, and it helps you do your job a lot faster and brings everybody together on the same page so you know who you're talking to, what they want, and how they want it delivered to them. So please don't use a template. Please just don't plunk it into Claude or ChatGPT. It's not going to work out as well as if you do it this way instead. So what a behavioral persona is a pattern-based profile of how a specific type of buyer thinks, decides, and buys. It's built on real customer data, not demographics and a vibe. And what it's not a fictional character with a name, a family, and a commute. Like, that's creative writing. It doesn't help your sales team close deals. So why most of these checkbox templates personas fail, they're built off of generic research or AI that pulls like the average. It has a whole bunch of data and it just kind of pulls and reproduces kind of the average data. You are not average. Your customers are not average. Another reason is you're using too many of them. You don't need 12 personas. You need 3, 5 tops that are meaningfully different from each other. You give them people names instead of behaviors. You also assign genders to them so people can never remember which is which, or if salesperson Sally is actually a man, how do you actually translate that? Because now you have an idea in your head that salesperson Sally is this woman. So now you're kind of building in biases into the stuff that you're using based off of your personas. And there's no connection to the buying process or how your customers actually buy. So all of your personas are just sitting in a deck or sitting in someone's inbox. They're collecting dust. They're not being used. So the outcome when you get this right is that sales, marketing, and your customer success teams are working from the same playbook. Messaging matches how buyers actually make decisions. Handoffs are cleaner. Retention improves because you are attracting better fit customers in the first place. So how do you actually go through about creating a better persona? Fantastic question. Love to tell you. Number 1, use behavioral descriptors. Skip the human names, name them by their behavior. So unless you have a hyper-specific product where gender or demographics are genuinely relevant, human names can create and introduce bias and a whole bunch of confusion. So name your personas after what they do or how they buy. So for instance, you could use like the validator, someone who needs more proof before they can move forward. The urgency buyer, someone who's like, they have a burning problem, they need to solve it fast, and you're well positioned to help them. The committee builder, this is someone who like might not be able to decide without having the input of 6 additional stakeholders. So your team will actually remember these. They will also stop projecting their assumptions and their personal biases onto a character named like Tech Savvy Tom. Each persona needs to be meaningfully different from each other. They need to align with the customer data that you have, like different motivators, different objections to purchase, different buying timelines. And if you have personas that feel kind of sort of similar, combine them, collapse them together. You need to consolidate them. And then please don't create more than five. More than five personas, nobody's going to use them. Pick the ones that represent your highest value, best fit customer segments, and cut the rest. And honestly, when my clients come to me and they're like, well, we need five personas, I'm like, but do you? Do you really? Is there an opportunity for us to create three? Three different ones that are meaningfully different from each other so that you can have better, more meaningful sales conversations and have them add to your overall profitability and have them be happier in the process. So here's where most persona templates fail. They are either super surface level demographics or they're like 4 pages long and nobody reads them. Here's what actually belongs in a behavioral persona. Number one, you have to get the right demographic, you have to get the right data points and put them into your personas. Demographics. This is age range, role, company, size, industry. Keep it to a range, not a super specific. This is primarily used for ad targeting. This isn't like the be all end all of your persona, but you need to be able to use this for different systems. Like if you have Meta or LinkedIn or other types of ad targeting, you need to know so that you can really kind of dial in who that target is. Purchase motivators. What drives them to start looking for a solution? Not wants to save time, but like get specific why they're looking for a solution. What went wrong with what they were previously using that encouraged them to look for a new solution? Their objections to purchase. If you know what their objections are, you can address them proactively and help smooth along and speed up that sales process. Get in front of those objections. Channel preferences. Where do they spend time? It might be that you have a B2B audience that actually spends time on Instagram. It seems a little counterintuitive, like you need to be on LinkedIn. Like that's the prevailing advice, right? But what if your data from your customers says that they spend more time on Instagram than they do on LinkedIn? Maybe that's something you need to be paying attention to. Also, their content preferences. Do they read? Do they engage with photos? Do they really like text-based content? Do they like videos? Do they like a combination of those things? You need to understand what messages they want to receive in what channels and in what format. You also need to understand their competitive differentiators. What makes them pick you over your competitors or the alternatives, including doing nothing? Because that is also a competitor that you need to pay attention to. Like if they're going to stick with what they currently are using versus going through the process of switching to something else. Their desired outcomes. What does success look like to them? If they pick you, what are they hoping to get? And how are they measuring that? You need to understand what that looks like. Their likelihood to refer. This is not NPS scores. This is, have you referred us to somebody else and what did you say about us? They are evangelists or are they quiet users? This could affect your retention and your referral strategies. And also their perceived benefits and value. Like what do they think they're buying versus what are they actually getting? This is often a lot different from what you think you might be selling. You might be selling like a time-saving solution, but instead it might actually help them work better together with teams in a more collaborative way. But you need to understand that difference so that you can craft messaging, sales, and objections in order to get in front of them. Don't bother creating personas if they're not getting used. I use 2 formats based off of feedback from a lot of teams and a lot of clients that I've worked with over the years. Number one, it has to be in a usable format. It has to be easily consumed by the teams. You need, number one, a detailed persona with which is basically a reference document. And you can back this up with a whole bunch of data points if you like. I'm going to show you an example of a real world persona that I've created for a client in just a minute. And then you also need a quick reference guide, a chart that actually gets pulled up in a sales call or in a content brainstorm that hits the high points. Build both of these. So the detailed version under a page lives like in a shared drive, and the quick reference chart, like 1 column per persona, goes on the wall. It goes on the desk. It goes in your CRM. It goes on your desktop file. Like it needs to be accessible in under 30 seconds. Otherwise, it's not going to get used. So let me walk you through an example. So this was for an insulation company. We created a persona that said the informed insulator. It's based off of their behavioral data. This is more of like the detailed breakdown of what that persona is. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of details. There's a lot of like breakdowns. It's a little bit of a read. But we also included some voice of customer data so you can actually see how they talk about this particular solution. So you have an idea of the tone and voice that these particular customers are using in this persona. And then we back it up with data. This is based off of data that was gathered with a customer survey and customer interviews. So we combined all of it, quantified it, and now you have data that you can point to that justifies why you've created these things in your persona. So we have purchase motivators, the competitive differentiators, things that help them stand out, the likelihood to refer, like have you referred us and what did you say? And then this is the quick reference guide. Just a quick chart, a quick breakdown, comparing and contrasting two very different personas, including demographics, purchase motivators, commitment timeline, desired outcome. Your chart may look a little bit different depending on the types of data that you're able to pull, but really try to focus on that purchase data, that behavioral data, the channel preferences, the content preferences, where they actually get their information, things that help you do your job better at a quick glance and help you make better, faster, more confident decisions when you're in those brainstorming meetings and when you're in those planning meetings. So these are the two things that I like to create, the detailed version and then the quick reference guide. So here's why you need to be pulling data from your actual customers and why you should be pulling it from AI. AI is going to build you a persona from publicly available data, industry reports, pattern matching, blah, blah, blah. That means your customer success manager persona is going to look like every other company's customer success manager persona because you're all using the same data. Nothing about it is unique. Nothing about it is going to give you any type of edge. Nothing about it is going to tell you how your customers speak and the words and phrases that they use. So here's where you actually get your data. You can get it from customer surveys, customer interviews. Those two personas that I just showed you, they came from customer surveys and interviews. Sales call recordings. Yes, pull those transcripts. Amazing source of information there. Support tickets, like what went wrong, what's not going right, how do you resolve those issues? How do you overcome those objections? Any type of CRM data, this is going to help you really understand what the deal cycle looks like or how long someone's been a customer or even what level of service that they've subscribed to or that they're currently engaged with or how long they've actually been a customer. So you can use all of these things. And this is unique data that your customers can't copy because your customer set is unique to you. You can't copy and paste, even if customers switch and migrate from solution to solution, why they choose you is unique to you and how you have messaged and how you've supported your customers over time. So yeah, it takes a little bit longer to pull and compile all of this data, but being able to stand apart from competitors and make those really fast, confident decisions makes this all worthwhile. So here's the segmentation piece that most people mess up. You need to match your data source to how your persona is actually going to get used. So for instance, if your sales team is using these personas to qualify and close, pull data from recent closed won and closed lost deals. So recent, focus on recency, not customers from 3 years ago when your product was different. But if your customer success team is using these personas to improve retention and expansion, make sure to focus and pull data on the higher value, longer tenure customers, the ones you want more of. What do they have in common? Why do they stay? Why do they refer you? And be able to reverse engineer and use those in your personas so that you can really kind of focus on that. So it's a little bit more of an advanced play to kind of create different segmentation for personas, but it's something that's really, really valuable. But just remember, if you're using the wrong data source, you're going to get the wrong persona and then nobody's going to trust it because it doesn't do anything and it doesn't do any heavy lifting for you. So quick 101 on creating personas that help you do a whole lot of heavy lifting. Behavioral personas that work are basically named around the behavior that that group of customers exhibits and not just demographics or gender. 3 to 5 personas tops, err on the side of fewer versus more. You need to use meaningful data in order to actually get them to be able to use. So that's decision-making data, the reasons why they chose you, objections to purchase. And then you also need to create 2 different formats, one that's a quick reference guide and one that's a little bit more detailed and can give you a little bit more data points to kind of back up any argument that you might be having. And then you need to align the data with how you're actually going to use these. So if you want to create personas for customer success and specifically for retention, focus on pulling data and getting data from your customers who have been with you for a long time. If you need to create personas that are specifically designed for more top of funnel, mid funnel, acquisition based, focus on customers who are more recent. So, in the world of AI, where features can be built in the next sprint, it's easy to stand up a new service line overnight. It's easy to build features in the next sprint, but data from your customers is really your only competitive, meaningful edge. So lean on your customers, get and use this data, and apply it to how you're actually moving forward in your business, including messaging, sales, customer retention, customer success, all of those things. So that's all the time that we have for Free Marketing Fridays today. Thanks for spending time with me today. And if you want updates and access to the replay, make sure that you sign up at freemarketingfridays.com and that I have your email address so that I can send you out the replay and let you know about future sessions. And if you're watching this on the replay, please like, share, and comment if you found this helpful for you. Thanks so much.